False teaching about prayer declaration causes disappointment with God. To make it appear that Scripture supports prayer declarations, Bill Johnson points to the story in the Gospels when Jesus calmed a storm on the Sea of Galilee. He claims Jesus rebuked his disciples for seeking his help rather than exercising their own authority to make a prayer declaration to stop the storm. So quote is from his book, When Heaven Invades Earth. He writes, Jesus was sleeping in the middle of a life-threatening storm. The disciples woke him because they were afraid of dying. He exercised authority and released peace over the storm. Even after the disciples got their answer to prayer, a stilled storm, Jesus asked them about their unbelief. He expected them to exercise the authority he had given them to quiet the sea themselves. Instead, they asked him to do it. But Johnson misinterprets this passage. Jesus was not rebuking his disciples for failing to recognize their authority to declare, but rather for failing to have faith in him and to recognize his authority, right? It was a divine authority, even over nature. So even though there's no support in Scripture for making prayer declarations, our leaders insist that that's how all Christians are supposed to pray. And they actually teach that it's angels who carry out the believers' prayer declarations. But get this, the angels will only carry out your prayer declarations if you're submitted to an apostle. So listen to these words from Chris Vallotton. He says, do the angels always go out and answer everyone's prayer declarations? Everyone's prayers and prophecies? He's talking about prayer declarations there. I don't believe they do, because I believe they recognize people who are under submission to an apostolic mission. So this is a spiritually abusive teaching. And in December 2019, Bethel Church attracted national media attention for making prayer declarations. Maybe some of you heard of this. It was a tragic story. All of the 2-year-old daughter of a Bethel worship leader died unexpectedly in her sleep. But rather than planning a funeral, the church took to social media. They asked their followers worldwide to join them in making prayer declarations that little Olive be raised from the dead. And thousands did, including even worship leaders from Hillsong Church, from Gateway Church, like Carrie Job went on Instagram and urged people to join her and Bethel in making prayer declarations for Olive to be raised. It was a big story. For 6 days, Bethel Church attendees sang, shouted, and commanded Olive to wake up and to come out of that grave in Jesus' name. I'm going to show you a 57-second video clip from one of the services they actually held at the church where they were doing this. Wake up, wake up. So after 6 days, the church admitted that Olive was not raised. They planned a memorial service. And some people defend Bethel. They say they had good intentions, but even so, real harm was caused. False teaching about prayer declaration causes disappointment with God. Yet these teachings about declaration prayer can be found in many of today's popular worship songs. Here are 2 examples. When I open up my mouth, miracles start breaking out. It's from the Bethel music song titled Champion. We Will Be the Generation Calling Down the Rain of Heaven is from the Bethel music song Be Lifted High. So notice that these songs reference like the NAR teaching about prayer declarations, that, we can, when we speak, we create reality with our words. And that second one, we will be the generation calling down the rain of heaven, actually also refers to the idea that we can call down the rain of heaven through our spoken words in the gospel of the kingdom, that Christ has made the way for the church to bring God's physical kingdom to earth. So that dominionism, prior to Christ's return, we can bring his kingdom to earth.